This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSPORT Fan Network. TalkSPORT. Powered by fans.
Hello, welcome back to this edition of Red Side Trent as we look forward to Thursday night's game as Forest take on Brentford back in the Premier League after a disappointing 2-0 loss to Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final. I'm delighted to be joined by Alex Oakes. Alex, how are you first of all? You well?
Very well, thank you, mate. Thank you.
Well, you've told me your hidden secret about getting back to Nottingham quickly from London games. I'm going to use that in the future. I won't let everyone else know so that don't get too much traffic in the future. But let's talk about yesterday. I mean, I thought pre-match was brilliant. I was just letting people on behind the curtain. We are recording this on the Monday ahead of Thursday as well. But yeah, what was your thoughts pre-match? What was your thoughts during the game, etc.?
I saw their lineup come out, and I thought that our lads could definitely go at their midfield. There wasn't sort of the maverick of De Bruyne in there. There's not the solidity of Nico Gonzalez that they've brought in. He's done pretty well for them since he's come in. Obviously, Rodri is out for the season, and I thought their midfield was to be got at, but I was completely wrong. And in fact, it was the area we struggled in the most, I feel. But yeah, I think Forest at Wembley, I think we're a club that's always going to sell it. I think with where we are at the moment, I think there's always going to be a demand for Wembley tickets when we do get there. Like you say, pre-match was brilliant. I think a lot of people were confident. But yeah, the day as a whole was fine up until the second minute. But yeah, no, it's fine. Seeing Forest at Wembley, it's not something I've got accustomed to in my lifetime. So yeah, I'll just try and savor it and enjoy it as much as possible. I think that's pretty much all people our age can do.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was unusual how we let the 2 goals in like straight through the middle of the park, and then from a set piece where they're 2 areas that we've been fairly strong in. Really, like we've forced a lot of teams out wide, don't we, and try and cross the ball in that way, and or really try and pop it around us. And I don't know, it was just a little bit like kind of disappointing that how we let the goals in, and we're not a chasing team as we've known all season. We find it really hard if we go behind, as many teams allude to in their pre-match and stuff, like saying if Forest get ahead, it's a difficult day for them. And City, they popped our bubble within 2 minutes, didn't they, mate?
Yeah. I mean, their second goal, I mean, that's not the first time Vardy scored a header against us. So he's got our number when it comes to corners, apparently. But yeah, you say set piece have been a strong point. I've noticed we seem to we started the season very, very well, strong in set pieces, and then we went through like a lapse of conceding sort of high XG chances from set pieces against, and then we start to get punished. I can't think off the top of my head, but I noticed that we were conceding a few more sort of towards the front end of this year. It seemed to tail off, and then Vardy hit us with another punch yesterday in possibly the worst fashion possible. But whenever we concede a set piece, it always seems to be Murillo just being out jumped and the ball going over his head by half a millimetre, and he just doesn't seem to get anything on it. Obviously, that's not a criticism of Murillo at all.
Grow taller.
It always seems to be him when we do concede. It seems to just go over his head. I don't know if it's the zone he's marking or whatever, and teams know if you flight a ball just over him, there is scope behind him to sort of knock one in on goal. But yeah, conceded 2 minutes in isn't ideal in any game you play, let alone at Wembley against. Let's have it right. They're one of the best teams in the country. They've been shambolic this season, but by their standards, they're still what? Where are they? Fourth? They're fourth on 61 points. So we're being lauded for having a great season, and we're sixth on 60 points. We are having a great season, but by City standards, it's been a car crash of a season.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is the gripe I have with how we mark in set pieces. Is I'm not a massive fan of zonal. It's the one gripe I've got with Matt Sells. I know that's really nitpicky, but I don't think he's as commanding of his areas as he could be. But they're little things, and as we discussed at Bournemouth away when we first bought him in, he's like 5th or 6th choice for us at the time, and then now he's our number 1 and. The song has really got legs now as well, Alex. So that's that.
The pioneers.
and to be fair, Matt Sells has kept us in games. He kept us in the game slightly yesterday with a few decent saves. I mean, the save before the corner they score is unbelievable as well. So I can't really have too much of a go at him, to be honest. And we were unlucky. We hit the post 3 times, or hit the bar, hit the post twice, and it's just one of them days. I thought the lads gave everything they could, and that's just football sometimes, and you need that luck to go for you in FA Cup games. We've had plenty of it with how many penalty shootouts we've won. So I guess Lady Luck kind of just ran out on the day, and it is what it is. But we are going to focus back to Premier League football Thursday night as we welcome Brentford, who have been a bit of a bogey side in the past, I would say, Alex. But we did beat them this season when they had not. I don't think they'd lost that at the G-Tech this season until we went there, and then we kind of brushed past them with relative ease, I thought, on the day. What's your thoughts and feelings going into this one? I know you mentioned a little bit off air about what you was thinking during the FA Cup game.
Yeah, I mean, Brentford away was one of those, wasn't it? For me specifically, sort of, you looked at their form, and they hadn't lost at home until we rocked up, and then we went there, and like you say, we won with relative ease. They didn't cause it. I remember, what was it? I think it was Aya from a corner that forced a great save out of Sells, but that was pretty much the only chance I remember off the top of my head them having. But yeah, it was a cornerstone in the season of many cornerstones in the season. Sort of going away to a team that haven't been beaten, you roll them over, and you sort of start to think, with it being sort of early-ish on in the season, we thought we might be this side that we have proven on, months later to be. We are that sort of top 6 chasing side. We're a Champions League chasing side. We are a very good football team.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the time, I remember, if I remember rightly, Thomas Frank coming out in post-match and saying how much they dominated, how much they created chances. And like you said, I don't remember other than that a chance from I think that was from a set piece or from a recycled kind of bit of play. And he's headed it straight at Matt Sells and he's made a relatively decent save. But I remember we could have made it even more than 2-0. I think we had some really good chances and kind of just hit maybe an inch or two to the left or right, and we're probably 3 or 4-0 up. So it's an interesting game. Brentford have always been one of these sides where they can get a result from anyone on their day. They're one of those teams that are very industrious. They're very well organised. Thomas Frank's a very good manager on a budget, which I'd imagine Brentford are on with what they've got to work with and their kind of how big their club is. There's no detrimental to them. They've got some fantastic players. We was linked with Warren Visser for a lot of January, and then we've been linked with him most for the summer now, which is, that addition would be ridiculous in my eyes and would cost us a lot of money. But what's your thoughts on Brentford since then? Because they were awful away from home, and then not too long ago, maybe more, a little bit more recently they've not been as good away from home, but they did have go for a period where they couldn't win at home, but they was winning all their games away, actually, Alex. So it just proved some kind of complications for Thursday night.
Yeah, I think you put the nail on the head there. I think they didn't. I don't think they won an away game up until, was it late January, early February, and then they couldn't stop winning.
I'm going to say they beat Southampton like 4 or 5-0, and then it seems to go from there.
Yeah, and it's just rolled on. I mean, I think they were on an away streak of like 5 wins, 6 wins away from home on the trot, which is no mean feat in the Premier League. That's that's good going. But yeah, thing is with Brentford, they're a little bit unpredictable. As we've touched on, they were great at home to start the season, awful away. They flipped the form around. I can't say I've watched loads of them this season. I've watched bits and bobs. But if I was to guess how they were going to play, it's going to go, Mbermo versus Sharda, front three. But Damsgaard is one I want to touch on. He's having a brilliant season. I think he's top in the assist chart. If not, he's very much thereabout. He's got, I think it's 10 or 11 assists. He's right up there. He's pulling strings. I do think they'll cause us issues. I think they've got the talent in there to cause us issues. We saw with them going away to Arsenal and picking up a point. I'd like Vista in our side. I know that might not be popular with a lot of Forest fans, but I'd like him in there. I think he's very industrious. I think he's got a great eye for goal. Movement's brilliant, and for a smaller man, he's not bad in the air at all. But our games versus Brentford tend to be very interesting ones. They're fairly high scoring games. So you've got, in our 19 games against Brentford, we've got 2.44 goals per game, which is sort of above average. Both teams to score on more than half the occasions. But like you say, Brentford have been a bogey side for us over the last, since the Championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
They honestly, that I put them in the same category as Bournemouth. We just couldn't seem to beat them. We had the odd one in the Championship. We went there. I think we won 3-2. Who was it? Bouchalakis scored twice.
It was 4-3 in the end, I think.
4-3.
If I remember correctly, I think Daryl Murphy and Kieran Dow scored as well.
Yeah.
In that game.
Yeah, at least that's the game I'm thinking of.
Well, I think the rivalry of Thomas Frank started when Joe Lolly scored under the Sabri reign. At Griffin Park, and Thomas Frank lost his head, and he was like, "Well, we had more chances, we have created more XG," and I think that's when it all started, really, when it was like just calling them XG and every other name under the sun that I'm not going to repeat on here.
I was going to say so. I'll leave it out. But yeah, 19 games against Brentford. We've only won 5, which is an interesting stat. But Brentford have won 10 with 4 draws. I want to see us line up how we usually line up in a 4-2-3-1, because we'll cause them issues as well. They've got Rico Henry coming back. I'm not sure if he'll start over Lewis Potter at left back. They're right back. I think they're still playing Aya, but they have that Coyote. I think they're putting in. He's supposed to be brilliant as well. If you play
FIFA and Football Manager, then you know he's quite good.
From what I've been told from my mates who are Brentford fans, he's looked brilliant so far. It looks very raw though. Looks very quick, very pacey, good delivery into the box, but sometimes could be a bit defensively suspect. But yeah, I'm hoping for a good game and obviously a Forest win. But yeah, get back on the train from the Wembley disappointment and pick up 3 points on Thursday.
Yeah, we're just talking about their team. This is what they played against Brighton. So you are quite right with pretty much you pretty much named their whole 11, to be honest, which I think some people will think is quite impressive. So they had Mark Flecken in goal, Michael Coyote, Nathan Collins, Sepp van den Berg, and Keane Lewis Potter across their back 4. Christian Norgard, and I'm not going to say I don't know what Yaremchuk's first name is actually.
It's Johar, I think. Johar.
Okay, he's meant to be a good young player, actually. And then obviously
Yeah.
Mikkel Damsgaard, Mbuemo, Kevin Schade behind Johan Visser. So I think you kind of pointed out already what their obvious potential weaknesses are, and that's fullback, isn't it? I mean, Lewis Potter made a mistake for Antti Elanga to score in the reverse. Like you say, Coyotes might be quite good going forward, but going the other way is suspect. And when you're playing someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi, then I think you've always got an issue, I guess. So yeah, I think it sets itself up to be a really fascinating game. I mean, I don't know where else you think we can get some joy, but I think fullback is, especially at left back. I know Lewis Potter has done a really good job there, but like it's an obvious one, isn't it? You a winger playing at fullback. It's like how we were playing Abbott at right back against City. You're playing someone who's square peg in a round hole, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly that. Lewis Potter's I mean, it's an old adage for fullbacks that they're a winger but can't play winger effectively, so they get put at fullback. I think Gary Neville said that nobody wants to grow up being a fullback. I think Lewis Potter's come into that mould where he was up on the left-hand side, and through injury and stuff like that, because they had horrendous fullback injuries for God knows how long. I mean, Aaron Hickey, I think he's still out. He's a brilliant young player. But I've made my thoughts clear on Rico Henry. He was unlucky that he got injured. Otherwise, I think he'd have been going to the Euros.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, Lewis Potter. I think defensively probably suspect, as he's a winger. He's not a typical fullback. I definitely think Elanga's got pace on him, but I'd say that for pretty much every fullback in the league. Yeah. And yeah, if Coyote pushes up, sort of in that mould next to Norgard, and Lewis Potter does the same thing, there is a lot of scope there to. I don't want to say long ball, but if you can get the ball into Morgan Gibbs White, and then feed it out to one of the wide players, have Chris Wood occupying Collins and Vandenberg. Both of which recently have been very, very good. I think Collins has been highly rated by my mates all season. I think there's potential to hurt Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, just like whilst we go back to it, I mean, Brentford have got such a big game to play for in some respects, and this is where I think it could lend itself to be a really interesting game. So just for the audio listeners, I've put the league table from 1st to 11th. I mean, I'm not going to congratulate Liverpool on winning the league because that'd be an absolute sacrilege. But Brentford are going to need to win this game to still keep up with Bournemouth, Brighton, and Fulham for that last potential European spot. Barring in mind if Crystal Palace don't win the FA Cup, but Crystal Palace are actually just off this, and they're really I think a point behind Brentford themselves. So it's really tight for like the 6th, 7th, and 8th spots in the league. Well, mainly the 8th spot really, with that little gap between Fulham and Aston Villa. So really, and I mean, this if Brentford have got to come at us, really, Alex, they've got to win the game just as much as we have. So I guess it kind of does it play into our hands with the style we've played majority of the season in terms of being on the counter attack and whatnot?
Yeah, I think so. I wholeheartedly think so. I think Brentford, again, they're one of them teams that want to keep the ball. I think Thomas Frank's done a brilliant job since he's been there. I mean, he's been there yonks now, but they're a possession-based team, and I think us being at home that lends us to play our game quite well, unless they, for some reason, pull an Everton and just go, we don't want the ball, you try and break us down, and then they'll hit us with the same thing, which, in my opinion, could work because they've got the same ilk of players that can harm you. Schade is absolutely rapid. We all know what Brian Mbuemo's about. When you've got someone like Damsgaard sitting in behind, pulling the strings for them. But no, I think they'll come at us. I think they'll know they need to win this game if they stand any chance of getting any form of European competition. Because they're only 5 points off it with 5 games left. Don't get me wrong. If it goes down to 8th, I believe. But I also think they play. I think they've just beat Brighton. I think they've got Bournemouth to play as well. So they're going to target this game as a win it, and then move on to Bournemouth. If we can win that, they'll go 2 points above Bournemouth. Granted that Bournemouth don't win. I can't remember who they're playing at this point, but granted, Bournemouth don't win their game on the same game week.
So Brentford's last few fixtures, including ourselves, are Man United, Ipswich, Fulham, and Wolves. So it might have been Fulham that you was.
It's Fulham I'm thinking of. Yeah. No, I knew there was 2 directly above them because I mentioned it to George the other day. The Europe is very much on the cards for Brentford, but yeah, I think that there's a strong chance they get it. But doing it over your rivals in Fulham, I think that'd be a great moment for them. But yeah, we're here to try and stifle the party.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at this, if we win our game, Alex, and I mean, I know I'm saying this with some sort of pinch of salt because I don't want to jinx anything. I know we're Forest and we've been through literally everything. If we win on Thursday night, I would pretty much say that's us in Europe of some sort, because that would put the gap to 12 points, bearing in mind a goal difference catastrophe. We know where we've been with that, so I'm not going to say too much on it because we're Forest and we've been there. But I mean, it's the goal difference is far more superior than it was under Lamucci when we absolutely squandered that in COVID. So if we win, it's like you say, this is why I think it's such an interesting game, because it lends itself to be. It could be anything, because, like you say, Brentford could say, "Well, you lot need to win just as much as us, so we will counter attack you, and you've got to come at us." But like equally, they need the points as well. We've already got the points on the board and got other games that we can go off and win to secure Europe of some sort. But I think if we want Champions League football, and I mean the players will be hurting from that FA Cup game, I think that's now got to be the driving factor for it. So. Would you say if we do win on Thursday, that's potential? That's at least Thursday night secured, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say so. I've been saying for a long time. I say a long time, good couple of weeks now. I think we're going to get Europe in some capacity. I think I'm not, Champions League is the absolute dream. But I wouldn't mind some absolute dive in Kazakhstan on a Thursday night either. That's what being a football fan's all about. But I mean, I've just had a look at a couple of stats on here. The points per game. So Brentford away in the last 5 games, they've won 3, lost 1, drawn 1. And us at home have exactly the same record of won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. So I think it's going to be a tight game either way, but both teams are going to. I think both teams are going to go out to win the game, which could lend itself to what Opta's saying on stats here. It's like both teams have kept 16% clean sheets in the last 19 meetings. That's not a great deal. 8 out of 19 matches have been over 3.5 goals. 12 out of 19 have been over 2.5. So if I was a betting man, I am. I'd be having over 2.5, and I think both teams to score. I think is a good bet, but hopefully I'm wrong. I don't mind losing money if Forest win. That's fine.
Right.
But I think both teams will go out to win it and win it well. But I think we've got the edge, being at home, being defensively solid. I'm quietly confident, I think.
Yeah, I think the only thing they'll have over is they've had like a really long extended break for this game week, so it's going to be it's one of them where that might play a factor. But I think Nuno kind of, I don't know if he's played a blinder or not with the whole Elanga, Callum Hudson-Odoi thing, because he left Elanga off for 45 minutes. I don't know if that was a tactical thing or Elanga's carrying a bit of a knock, because over the last few weeks he's been doing that as well, which has been. It's a strange one. I know Villa was meant to have been a knock, so I don't really know with that. But we'll look at your team selection, Alex. I mean, I didn't even do mine because I agreed with this. And unless Olaraina is available, then this is probably this has got to be it, I guess, on on Thursday night. So I'll read it out for the audio listeners. Alex picked a 4-2-3-1 with Matt Sells in goal, Nico Williams coming back in at right back, Milenkovic, Murillo, Toffolo across the back forward, Nico Dominguez and Elliot Anderson in central midfield. Gives White Alanga, Hudson-Odoi behind Chris Wood. I think you can't really argue with this, can you? Like, there's no argument for bringing Yates back in. There's no argument for maybe putting Williams at left back and Jota coming in at right back because he had a little cameo there at the weekend. So I don't think there's anything really you can argue with this, can you?
Jota plays right back, mate. I'm not entering the ground once I see the team news. Not a chance. No. I think currently without Olarena, that's our strongest lineup. I mean, some people will argue Yates for Dominguez. I think Dominguez is a far better technical footballer. There's not going to be the absolute brutes in midfield, the likes of Everton, the likes of Newcastle, that you really want to stick Yates on, get them wound up. I mean, if they're going to play Norgard and Yarmulke, they're going to be neat, nice, tidy passing that you can get round by pressing them high and pressing them hard. And there's no one better in our team at that than Nicholas Dominguez for me. But like I say, I think the front four inks itself in. Elliot Anderson inks himself in again. I think he's one of the first names on the team sheet. But yeah, the only debate is Moreno or Toffolo. But after the Spurs performance and yesterday, to be fair to him, I thought he did well yesterday. I don't think Harry Toffolo deserved dropping.
No, I mean, yeah, I think that's the only case. I can't argue with this. There's literally no case for anyone else, and that it speaks a little bit of kind of volumes and concern at the same time, because our strength in depth has been such a concern since we've been in this kind of run of getting into the Champions League qualification. Because I think if it was mid-table, I think we'd have seen the likes of Sosa and Jota way more. I think we'd have seen. I'm trying to think maybe Moreno a little bit more than we have done, because Nico Williams has been he's been so good at left back, never mind right back. So yeah, I can't argue with this, mate. I don't think there's anything that needs to be said. I just think we need to start off on the front foot. Maybe I think we need to get at Brentford. I think if fans can get up for it on a Thursday night. I mean, I think against Everton, I think was a little bit flat. I think we expected to go into that game and win. I think Thursday, I don't think we can expect to win. I think we just need to. I think we need to expect a performance. I think the win will follow if the performance is there. Personally,
yeah, I'm kind of the opposite. It's like I don't care about the performance. It's like 3 points. We've got 5 games left. I think winning the game by any means necessary, I think, is the order on the table at the minute. Whether that's 1-0 off Chris Wood's arse cheek or a 5-0 win in which Morgan Gibbs White scores a hat-trick, doesn't bother me as long as it's 3 points. But yeah, Brentford are no mugs. You know, they've got a great centre-back partnership that will occupy Chris Wood well. I think they could provide the same sort of anonymity to him that who was it? Diaz and Bardio did yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you shut Chris Wood down, it lets Alanga, Hudson-Odoi, and Gibbs White shine. That's the only thing for me. So we've got scope to fire on a couple of fronts going forward. I mean, I think Olarena is the biggest miss because his going forward, as shown in the Brentford away game, he got on the score sheet that game. He's a massive miss at the minute. Toffolo was sort of hailed as this incredibly attacking wing back in the Championship, and he was brilliant at it. But does it work in the Premier League against much better standard of opposition? Probably not at that level. But I'd be glad to see Nico back in.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just offers that balance and what have you. I think like you could clearly see how much we struggled with Abbott at right back, and that's no detriment to him. He's not a right back. So I think when you talk about Olarena, I think he either ranks as top or definitely in the top 3 for like interceptions in our third or in our half at least. And then that's you're already on the front foot because it's normally them coming forward, and then suddenly the momentum's going the other way. So having Nico back there, he offers that as well. So yeah, no, I'm in agreement with me. I mean, last time we played Brentford, I think we surprisingly went for a free at the back with Morato. I can't see that happening personally. I think I'd be very surprised if Nuno does that, but he has been full of surprises this season, as weird as it has been, even though we've been also fairly predictable. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think we can win it for sure. I think also Brentford do provide threat. I am concerned about that, but I back us against anyone at home. So yeah, that's my thoughts and feelings on it. But what's your score prediction for the game, Alex? I know you're not a fan of giving all these, but I'm asking you.
I'm just going to chime in with Olorena first.
Yeah.
Because I received some jip on Twitter from my mate George. Because it was I think possibly the last time before I was on here was the Brentford away game. And I said Olorena is top 3 right backs in the Premier League. No.
Yes, I think I remember this.
He's the best right back in the Premier League this season.
Yeah,
I'm not budging from it at all. He has been, and he has been all season long. And it's unfortunate that he's just picked up an injury. He's been the best right back in the league this season. I'll have that. I'll have that clear with absolutely anybody. But onto the game. I mean, Brentford's normally a well-scoring affair with us. I'm going to go 3-1 Forest.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think I'm going to go for the same. I think I'm going the same. Yeah, 3-1. I think that's I think it could be quite tight, and then I think they might chase it a little bit, and then I think we might score another. So,
I mean,
yeah, I'll go that. I'd love Chris Wood to get to 20 goals on Thursday night. I mean, that would be some milestone, some achievement as well, because that's like ridiculous, especially in them banana boots of late.
What is he doing?
Well, I really questioned it when I seen him against Everton, and then when he scored the first that didn't count at Tottenham, and then scored the header straight after. No, you could wear whatever you like, Chris. So I'm not bothered. As long as the ball goes in the onion bag, I'm not bothered. I don't care. Like, just do what you want.
I think, judging from his reaction to yesterday's game, I think Gibbs White is going to be absolutely right up for this. I think we're going to see sort of another level of intensity from him come Thursday night. And I think if we win, I think he'll be very key to it. I can see him getting on the score sheet. If not, I think he'll pick up a couple of assists from that. But yeah, I think 3-1. And let the banana boots do what they want to do at this point, as long as they get the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think it's quite funny when Gibbs White seems to have these setbacks. He seems to like kind of go up. I mean, I did want to. I'll ask you because we may as well. It's on the tip of our tongue, sort of thing. But what did you think to his post match? Because I just thought I was like, you don't. There's no need for you to apologise. Like I didn't think he warranted that. Like he's gave absolutely everything to us the last 3 seasons. So I didn't think there was a warrant for an apology from himself, to be honest.
No, I think that's him being a humble human being that he is. No, you just want to tap him around the back of the head and sort of point at him and say, you have absolutely nothing to apologise for. You know, I wouldn't even say he's missed 2 chances. I mean, the volley, if that went in, we're talking about it for weeks. But I'd be more disappointed if we weren't getting in the position to have those chances than actually missing those chances. Because missing chances is an issue in a way, but not creating the chances is a far bigger issue. But no, he at times over the last 3 years, he has had this team, this club, these fans on his back. He's absolutely carried us through some rubbish moments during the Premier League. And again, even when we've been much better this season, sometimes we've relied on him to sort of drag us out of the game, put in a smashing tackle, you know, thread a great 25-yard, 30-yard through ball, ping a 45-yard diag to Hudson-Odoi to score against City. You know, it's moment. Gibbs White is such a maverick player that everything he does for us, I don't think you can criticise him for. he's done so much for us, and he owes us absolutely nothing. So yeah, I don't understand what he's apologising for. I know he's going to feel bad that he probably went home thinking he's missed the chances to put us into an FA Cup final. Nonsense, conceding after a minute. That's the defence's job, the goalkeeper's job, midfield job for not tracking Rico Lewis in there. Gibbs White owes us absolutely nothing at all.
Yeah, I mean, I could understand why if he did go to someone like City because of what they are and what they've done and how much they win trophies. But I just look at Jack Grealish and go, and I look at both of them yesterday, whereas Jack Grealish is like passing the ball rather than taking players on and taking risks, and you got Gibbs White like doing all sorts of nonsense, and you're going, yeah, well, I quite like that. So I'd hate for him to go there and then become a robot like Jack Grealish has become. Because I guarantee if Jack Grealish leaves this summer, which I've heard that is a possibility of him potentially going to a few clubs interested, I bet you the shackles come back off, and I bet you get much more of a fun player there. So that's not being biased, because I would love Gibbs White to stay here for as long as possible, but it's just what I think in terms of being a football fan at the end of the day. You want to see the best players flourish and have that flair and entertain people, because that's what it's all about. It's meant to be a game and it's meant to be fun. I know it's not fun for everyone, but yeah, so that's just my last take. I don't know if you've got anything to add.
Yeah, have you seen Grealish been linked to us this morning? It's loose links, but like us, Newcastle, Villa, for it was about 40 million quid, I think, this summer.
Yeah.
I don't think it's for me. I think Marmoush has come into City, and Marmoush showed yesterday that he is currently what Grealish was when he left Villa. He's that sort of driving force, got great pace, he's got eye for goal, he gets in them spaces. I'm gutted we didn't sign him. Absolutely, because he looks absolutely brilliant.
At least we've got eyes in the right places, though. If you're looking at that and you're going, "Wow, what a player we could have had on our hands if we'd just got it over, if we'd like maybe gone for him a bit earlier." Do you know what I mean? But
I think especially in the summer, I think one of these we're going to pull off, and there are going to be people sort of looking at our recruitment model and sort of redefining, the Forest that splash out on 30 players because we had to at that point. Forest buy everyone, they spend tons of money. I hope we're moving away from that, and our current team completely shows that. Sensible business, from some of them from minor leagues. You look at Murillo, come across 15 million. What is he now? 80 million pound defender. Milenkovic, 12 million quid. 65, 70 million pound defender worth to us if we have to sell him. And then you've got sort of the Premier League cast-offs, if you like. Our whole front four are Premier League cast-offs that deemed weren't good enough for their clubs, that are worth tenfold what we bought. Maybe not Wood because of his age, but he's worth tenfold to us with what he provides. But yeah, if Hudson-Odoi goes, it's going to be 50 million quid. Elanga, probably the same. Gibbs White, you're looking at a full bag of 100 million, surely.
Yeah. We've got a lot of value and a lot of scope in our team, but they're a team I want to keep building around. Right, the summer. I know we've gone completely off tangent, but the summer is about like. Can we give some players new deals? Olaraina has obviously been spoken about for ages. Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs White, Nico Williams. Can we keep these players and keep building? And it's easier to say for us because we support the club and we love the club, but I'd find it really hard for them to leave because of what they're achieving. And like if they got to the Champions League, why would they not want to continue and see where they can get? Because they're the ones who have got us there. So it'd be a no-brainer from my point of view of why they would go. But stranger things have happened in football. But that is
the only thing it'd be is wages, isn't it? It's like City could buy Gibbs White and put him on 150 grand a week and not even think twice about it. I really hope he doesn't go there. I think he's least suited to that system. If he does go, I mean, be honest, I'd rather he went abroad to a top side. Honestly, I couldn't bear seeing him play against us. Same with
bad enough when he was playing for Sheffield United, never mind, because he was always a bit of a thorn in our midst.
Yeah, same with all this current crop. It's like I wouldn't want any of them playing against us in the Premier League. So just if we're going to sell them, tap Real Madrid up and ask them if they wanted him instead. But yeah, no, it's spending money in the right places. I think currently, and I think this will be no different. Which is it's a really exciting time to be a Forest fan. It's such a good occasion being able to sort of come on and talk to you about us when we're doing well, rather than being aggravated after we've lost 1-0, to flipping Luton at home. It's great. Talking about an FA Cup semi-final defeat to Manchester City, it's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll I'm sure you'll be coming back on in the summer. We'll be talking about all these links that we've got. So, no, I'm looking forward to it one way or another anyway. But no, thank you very much for joining us, Alex. Appreciate that. Hopefully, we'll have a good night on Thursday night. Send us back up to third in the league. We're chasing Arsenal down, guys. Come on. We're on a second, never mind third. So, yeah. Until then, we'll see you next time when we bring you the review of the Brentford game. Until then, enjoy your week.